And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LPL broadcast here in English on Twitch TV. See the breakdown of the previous game, number 1 in this best of 2 series, 1 to 8. As far as turrets are concerned, the big objective play is working out for StarHorn Royal Club, and the MVP of game number 1 is Korn. Finished game 1 with a 12-1-5 score on his Fizz. Very, very different than the last time we saw him play it versus World Elite in the game that they did lose. 507 GPM. Guy was making money across the map. So great performance by Korn and just really across the board by StarHorn there in game number 1.
Yeah, and Insec made the decision after he realized the bottom half of the map was warded to focus some attention on Korn, to give him a little love, and he took off for the team. So that was probably a good decision.
It's true. It's like he's a flying fish because he took off, and well, he just kind of his trident was a trident that pierced the heavens, or at least it pierced World Elite Academy, and they did not like the specific location of where Korn chose to pierce them. He did it many times and hard carried the game out there. Incredible damage and great early game focus. It was a little bit back and forth. Insec had one like really bad gank in top lane where Soas was able to turn it around and even kill Insec. So a little bit of shakiness early on, and if World Elite Academy can capitalize on that, well, they're gonna have to capitalize on it with a capital K, because that's pretty much the only chance they got that game to get an advantage, because once the first dragon went down, after the first 15 to 20 minute mark, it was just all StarHorn all the way.
And World's Elite Academy was playing a very reactive style, but some of their reactions were a little questionable. Like you said, Soas had a really good turn on the top lane, and he was farming well when Insec was showing in lanes, but he didn't make a lot of plays to try to get the gold onto his teammates. And also when StarHorn started making the plays around the mid game, started taking advantage of some of these itemization power spikes, World Elite Academy just really struggled with vision control and trying to find any sort of pick or advantage to try to get back into the game. So in order to do that, they need to be more intelligent about when they're going to ward, more intelligent when they think they have a pick, and hopefully they won't be in a position where they're trying to come back from behind again if they intend to win the second game.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to have to do it coming from behind. That's really never been World Elite Academy's strength. Maybe back in the days when they were dominating LSPL, if they got behind, then they could bring things back. But it's a whole different caliber of team. And more than that, just the different caliber of players. You saw so many of these late game fights where it was less the carries and more just the engage. Insec and Zero just knew exactly how to start the fights and how to keep their carries alive and just really set them up for maximum damage. So really exciting to see just such precise, calculated play from StarHorn Royal Club, even if they didn't necessarily exhibit it in the first few minutes where Soas was able to come back. And I guess on that note, some very patient, very calculated play from World Elite Academy, specifically Soas and SMLZ, both had illustrations of maybe some, I don't know, they looked like they were getting ahead. They both picked up very early kills in their lanes, but just weren't able to do very much off of it.
Yeah, and I think right there we have the difference in some of the experience of the shot callers making the proactive plays and calls between StarHorn Royal Club and World Elite Academy. Insec able to make much more proactive, much more decisive plays, knowing what to do in particular situations, whereas UJ, who's been away from the scene for a while, his team obviously wasn't as together or as decisive in terms of the plays that they were making in the early game.
Talking about decisive plays, I'm looking in the audience to see whether or not we have like a huge bias as far as like fan signs are concerned. A lot of times during the break in between games, they'll give away like cool prizes to people who are oh my goodness, I want that OMG hammer. That looks like so fun, but it also looks like it would break pretty instantly. So my OMG hammering wishes will probably never be realized. Although OMG has been hammering teams all season long. Chinese fans kind of going crazy while we wait on the game to be set up. So we're just having a little bit of a break in between games while we continue getting things set up. So bear with us on a little bit of a delay before we hop in here to game number 2. So I guess we can also talk about the game after this one. This is going to be a second game in our series between World Elite Academy and StarHorn. But coming up after this, it's OMG versus LGD. And to be honest, OMG have kind of been, they're like out of cycle with World Elite. Like World Elite will look like a little bit of a slump and then super, super good. And then now currently in another little slump again. But OMG, especially when they had Neymar on the team for a while, it was not looking good for our overlords at the top of the standings. But ever since getting the team back together again, they brought it in, huddled together, and have been looking incredibly strong. So as expected, a victory as StarHorn is versus World Elite Academy. OMG should have a pretty good spot against LGD. But enough about that. We're into champion picks and bans for game number 2. StarHorn Royal Club versus World Elite Academy. And do we see a fizz ban here, Kelsey?
It looks like that question has already been answered for me. We do see a fizz ban. Otherwise, very similar bans. We see the Braum ban coming. StarHorn, though, since they don't have the opportunity to pick it if they want, pick it early if they want to, and they might be afraid of UJ's Braum. I would be. It's probably a good call by them. If that's what they don't want to deal with, then they're just going to get rid of it. They also get rid of the Ari. The Fizz is eliminated. The Kassadin is eliminated for them. So maybe Zed will be picked by Mickey going forward. And they are going to ban that Gragas as we predicted early, but the Jax comes out for.
Yeah, so with Cola grabbing the Jax there, it's just a comfort pick, and it's actually really strong. It's been banned out against him previously, I think in their game this last week. Don't quote me on that one, but it's first pick Rengar there. Khan is not going to let Insec have that, as it wasn't banned away this time. And last game, there's actually StarHorn that triple banned Mickey. So they took out, this time it's his Ari, Kassadin, Fizz, they're all gone, but he does still have Zed open, and Korn's gonna pick Yasuo. So if he wants to go Zed, that is probably his best option. Mickey is hovering over it. Does he lock that in? It looks like it is gonna get locked in, and SMLZ is actually gonna take UZI's Lucian away, but that leaves almost everything up. UZI can go Ezreal, go Tristana, Kog'Maw. It's all out there on the table.
Right, and there's really no point against banning the AD carries against any of these guys. They're able to play a lot of different things pretty well. We see, yeah, the Yasuo might seem a little bit curious when Zed is left open, but it has been really the one champion that Korn has really been able to go off on before today. He had has had a couple very strong games on Yasuo, and it's usually banned against him, considering some people think of him as a bit of a one-trick pony. So we'll get a chance to see that again, and maybe it'll be successful for him again today. UZI, though, hovering over the Kog'Maw. The Kog'Maw Nami has been a very successful pickup for StarHorn Royal Club. Before, they've also run it with Lulu. Really what UZI wants with that pick is just something to reset his positioning. But as I talk about it, he locks in the Corki.
Yeah, and he was hovering over Corki there for a second, too. You were talking about resetting his positioning. Well, you just throw down Valkyrie, and it'll reset that for you. Kog'Maw, a little immobile and really vulnerable to Mickey just, getting on top of him and not having a way to get away from that. So Valkyrie's one way to do it. Of course, you've got the flash there, and a lot of CC from Nami should help him out if it's, if they're just a dual lane getting ganked. But Mickey is on his Zed. Zed, they show their win rate. It's up at like 56% in LPL. So that's a pretty good stat to have on your side. Keep in mind they also have Rengar, so a very aggressive sort of come out the shadows and jump on you for a lot of burst damage. The only problem is that requires like being proactive. And in the last game, it was all StarHorn all the time. They were the ones shot calling and making these big plays. So we'll see if World Elite Academy can get out to a very strong snowbally early start, because they definitely have the team composition to do it.
And when they have been proactive, Mickey has been a huge part of that, especially on Zed. He tends to roam. He tends to look for other places to make an impact. So it will be interesting to see how that dynamic works out now, especially since I believe the situation was reversed in last game when Corrin had the Yasuo counter. So the shoe is on the other foot.
It's true, and we'll see exactly how well that shoe fits on the other foot. I've never actually understood that, because when you put the shoe on the other foot, like, that's like a right shoe on a left foot, and it's just not going to fit very well. Although I guess it is referring to putting it on a different person's foot, so maybe my understanding of American idioms is just completely insufficient. But this is going to be our intro into game number 2 of this best of 2 series between World Elite Academy and StarHorn Royal Club. And following a brief introduction, we'll be hopping into game 2 here in just a second. World Elite Academy struggling on the verge of defeat. They've picked up somehow 3 points. They're looking to make one more come their way. But if StarHorn Royal Club take this one down, they'll skyrocket from their almost permanently 4th place position in the standings all the way up to 2nd place, putting both EDG and World Elite below them and snapping at OMG's tails. Of course, OMG will have a chance to distance themselves again with our 2nd game of the night. But here we are, coming out into game number 2 between World Elite Academy and StarHorn.
And StarHorn Royal Club, part of their success last game, we talked about how they make very high risk, high reward plays. But part of their success came from the fact that they had very good early game wards. They weren't going to make these really risky plays that causes them to lose early. They waited for a good time to put pressure on the map and to gank. So if they can put that off, but there's a little bit of a skirmish in the top lane. Not much seems to be resulting there, though.
Yeah, we saw the same thing last game. It was just sort of the most inconsequential battle of the entire game. Insec and Soist actually had a dance-off last time, and Insec missing the Sonic Wave. Just gonna go back and hide on bush again. So we'll see if he wants to throw down some dance moves a little bit earlier. But as far as game number 2 is concerned, if you take a look at the team comps, and this is something somebody else pointed out to me, StarHorn, they are an all AD composition, but Corki and Jax both deal a ton of magic damage. Where if you look at World Elite Academy, they're all attack damage, and nobody deals magic damage. I mean, maybe some from Khan's ultimate, and then Thresh deals a little bit with the box. But other than that, it's just going to be all armor all the time for StarHorn, and a big timer put on World Elite Academy. If they can't get the snowball rolling, they just aren't going to have the damage late game.
And as we mentioned, both these teams are very snowball-oriented teams, so they might just be saying, okay, we're not even going to risk our poor early game strategy and just hope that we can all in on this early game here.
And that is the strategy that World Elite Academy have employed many of their games. They just said, look, we're going to win this game in 10 to 15 minutes, and if we don't, well, then that's on us. So if they do get an advantage, they have been able to snowball it into a lead previously, so don't want to count them out, but already you can see UZI and Zero just poking down UJ and an SMLZ, and that's with the sustained advantage on their side. So Soas coming in here, comes out the bushes there. Corrin is not in a good spot, but Mickey is going to take a lot of damage here. Corrin is just nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Gets the knockup, but it's not enough. Soas there for the assist. First blood goes to Mickey.
Right, and so we see the reverse, like we said, of what happened before. They're taking advantage of the fact that they do have a counter advantage in the mid lane.
But bottom lane, SMLZ gets bubbled up, blown up. UZI with a phosphorus bomb, taking him down off of Zero's. Just perfect coordination there. Just throwing the bombs, the bubbles, all the bees at World Elite Academy, picking up a kill of their own.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about how, in terms of player skill, Zero is going to be a very commanding support to have in the lane. So they saw where the jungler was, knew they could be aggressive. UZI and Zero have both said that they really like to play aggressively, and they took advantage of the enemy jungler being in the mid lane to press really hard and even out the kill score.
And just like we saw in game number 1, Soist is a remarkable jungler. Like, even in his patience or just in his sense of timing. And to be honest, that was half Soist being really good and half Corrin just choosing an absolutely terrible time to engage. Had no ward coverage at all and just didn't know where the Rengar was going to. He actually did that at around the 3-minute mark, which is the traditional gank timing after you take both buffs. So just a really ill-advised choice for timing on that aggression. So Mickey's picked up the double longswords actually after a Doran's shield start. Traditionally, you'll see the blade there too. I'm guessing he just went the shield to deal with the critical strikes from Korn early on.
Yeah, and Zed's starting items aren't necessarily the best choices. He doesn't do that much auto attack focus, so Doran's shield is a pretty good pickup for him as well.
And actually double Doran shields. You can see one down there on UJ. So that's actually really interesting because you will be at a gold disadvantage against Zero, who picked up that from early harass. But he's going to have to sustain through this. Soist actually coming in behind the turret here. We'll see if Korn... Wait, okay, just coming in for a brief tour. A little bit of nostalgia there. Insect still looking to get in range, but can't find any initiation vectors. So no ganks for either junglers. Gonna be a little bit sad right now. Wait, no, Soist is going in again. He's camping out behind Korn. Korn can't get too close to his turret here because Soist is just going to come back behind him. Opts to steal a little bit of that CS out the jungle, but putting on a lot of pressure mid.
Yeah, and it looks like Soist is just really wanting to make something happen mid, but they might catch each other out in the rift.
Yeah, Soist is going to jump onto Insect. They're both very, very low. Insect should have the advantage because he has red buff over the blue buff from Soist. But still, neither jungler really wants to go in and risk that just due to the potential outplay potential. So, UZI and Zero putting on the pressure again in the bottom lane. Advantages as far as those early kills go are being realized. You can see a 10 CS advantage bottom and pretty much the same thing mid. Oh, another bubble going down onto SMLZ. Tries to turn the damage back, but it is just not enough. Zero and UZI, you can just tell the synergy. Like, they are looking good.
Yeah, and it looks like when StarHorn World Cup has finally found this ability to put pressure on different parts of the map or understand different parts of the map, when they realize that Soist is going to be pressing a lot of pressure on mid, they need to make up the disadvantage Korn is experiencing, and so they're going on the bottom. But Soist might be learning and looking to rectify the situation, or he could just take white and back.
And keep in mind at the beginning of the season, like week 2, week 3, oh no, they're gonna, okay, they missed the bubble, but they have the damage anyway, so can't get near the bushes to ward. Famous last words of a whole lot of supports is, I was just warding, and a little bit of a mistake there by UJ. Didn't even flash in time, didn't have the time to. So SHRC, they pick up another kill in the duo lane, and like I said, early on in the season, there was a lot of questions for StarHorn. It was, will the Korean players be able to adapt to the language difference? Oh, SMLZ, what are you doing? All right, he is alive? But for how, wait, what, let me turn things over to my wonderful co-caster, Kelsey Moser, for some deep analytical insight into what on earth UCI just did.
I feel like that was just UCI being UCI.
That's
what we were
so
talking
true.
about earlier.
Yeah.
Wanting to overcommit a little bit. He saw an opportunity and he really didn't want to let it go. But in general, they're being very aggressive, taking advantages when they can. I feel like it's a little bit anticlimactic to play-by-play right now, just because as soon as someone dies, they blow up. So just say, oh, yep, that happened. That person died.
It's true. In the immortal words of Corky, UZI was nothing but a whiskey delta. Insect top lane waiting for Cola to get jumped on. He jumps in and commits, but Khan is pretty aware something's up. And I don't think Soist was scouted out on his trip to top lane, so they don't know the counter ganks there. But with mid MIA, you can see Korn's already pinging it. They know something's up, and also it's actually gonna ult go right over the wall. Insect gets exploded, and now it's actually Cola with a death mark on him. Will he pop in time? No. He survives, but Insect, man, where does health bar go? World Elite Academy come up top with a very aggressive play.
Right, and as you said, it's a little bit curious. It might be that it was too late by the time they heard word from Korn that mid was missing for them to back out from there, or maybe a little bit greedy trying to protect that tower. But but they should have known that it was a bad position to be in with the mid missing, with no vision on the jungler. So, and still Insec waited, tried to camp it out, tried to get. I feel like this is the other StarHorn Royal Club that we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of the StarHorn from like the middle of the season. Like they came out really strong. Like Insec was a monster, and they hit this really big slump. So not a whole lot of believers in SHRC, but they looked really strong in game one. Maybe a little bit weak early on, but I mean we're only 10 minutes into the game, so. We have been making these big plays, specifically Mickey on a very good champion, but the Dragon's Rage right into last breath. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine and dead. Right in, beautiful combo from Insec, blowing him up there with Corn.
And yeah, that was a really good place. They saw that there was a bit of an overextension from World's Elite Academy. He was in the area. He didn't even really care about the wards. He found a good angle to be from where he didn't think that the wards would be, and just used intelligent positioning, an idea of where World's Elite Academy might place the wards to get the gank there. Right now, though, World's Elite Academy still has a slight gold advantage, so they're going to be wanting to rectify some of these kills that they're giving up. Maybe change up where they're placing their wards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really, if you do look at their wards, they have 2 wards out. Okay, they have 3 wards out on the map. Wait, do they? Yeah, I think it's just 2. 2 pink wards, mid and then top lane. But top lane, it's there's a regular ward on top of it, so I don't think it's a big mystery. Both teams know where that's at. So, yeah, really non-existent ward coverage from World Elite Academy. They don't know a whole lot of what's out there, but they're the ones proactively making the play. Got Death Sentence down in the bottom lane onto 0. He's going to get pulled in, and Mickey's all the way top lane. This is not going to be good for Cola. She's going to get shoved underneath the turret. Khan's taking it up, has the dominance down, and holy, where did he go? Cola disappears in the top lane. Insect's there for moral support, but once again, he's on a ward. That Tri-Brush is not Insect's friend. Top turret goes down. 2 more kills coming World Elite Academy's way.
And as we mentioned before, Mickey, on a champion, he's more comfortable. On a champion that's more mobile, able to make plays around the map, he's kind of making up for some of the more reactive playstyle of Soest right now by making these plays, by finding these kill advantages where Soest can't necessarily do so. And Soest is able to, Insect going in to harass him a little.
Oh, but he misses the Sonic Wave. Soest was dead there. Insect did have his Dragon's Rage up, so even through the extra heal that Soest would have gotten from his Battle Roar, it just wouldn't have been enough. Now, Mickey is, for some reason... Okay, well, Insect is not where he wanted to be. He's gonna pop from the death mark. Is it enough damage? No. Mickey gets out of there a little bit early, but didn't want to die to Corn and give up his killing spree.
That was really intelligent play by Insect to wait for...
Okay, a little bit of intelligent play there by Soest too, jumping in. Once again, Soest's ganks this game have just been incredibly well thought out, from his level 2 gank or level 3 gank mid to his roam to top lane. Every single time, he's just making him work out. 4 out of 6 of the kills he's been a part of, and has set his team up very successfully. Most importantly, Mickey, like, they've been just like running around together, 2-manning just about everyone. It's been working out incredibly well starting this early game snowball.
And the only thing that I would like to highlight there from Insect is that he waited until Mickey was about to pursue him over the wall to get the Sonic Wave to the ward, and knew that Corn was there waiting for him. So that was pretty smart. Of course, World's Elite Academy was able to turn that around with Soest waiting in the wings there.
And waiting in the wings, something that Soest, even in game number 1, he did very effectively, able to turn that very early gank around onto Insects. So I feel like this game is really more World Elite Academy style, just like big, super hardcore early game, roam around the map and just blow people up. And it's a strategy that will work for a while, but it's not very it doesn't have a lot of success as the game goes on, unless they just pick up a million kills. 0 looking, the super mega death big one rocket thing. Is UZI gonna turn this one around? SMLZ goes down. UZI was way too much damage down there, but now the death mark in on Nicola. He is one dead Jax, and even though it's cool to watch UZI make a big comeback in the bottom lane, World Elite Academy will pick up their second turret of the game, and there's nobody to stop them from continuing the push. Like, who is going to come bottom and stop these three guys from pushing in? The answer is no one, but they back off instead of pushing. Will give up the dragon.
A little bit of a questionable call. I feel like they don't, again, the ward coverage is a big issue. They don't know where the rest of StarHorn World Club is. They have no idea that they're on the dragon. So they were afraid of maybe the reaction from them, so they decided to back off the turret. What we're seeing right now, though, is that they don't want to deal with UZI and Zero in the bottom lane and the lead that they have amassed, so they're putting pressure on other sides of the map and hoping that their leads on Khan and Mickey and
Khan's already ulted. He knows he's going in there. Gets the flash. No stun. Perfect flash distance there from Corrin. But really, it doesn't matter how many flashes you blow. The mission is accomplished. Third turret of the game down for World Elite Academy. And really no potential for StarHorn to bring the turret lead back pretty much anywhere. I mean, maybe if Cola sits top lane for another 5 minutes, he can finally make his way up at the top, take the top lane turret. But otherwise, just great pressure. And I hate to use the term, but big rotations from World Elite Academy. They take down bottom, rotate mid, take that turret, and now they might be looking to put on some extra pressure to the bottom lane. Or they start top, rotate mid, and now they're bottom.
Right, and them rotatos, right? But they just popped the Dominus, scared Corrin off, were able to get that mid turret for free. It was okay to burn the Dominus for the mid turret. That was totally a trade that they wanted, so.
Now World Elite Academy. I feel like they always underutilize their potential. Like, they didn't push down the top lane turret and inhibitor. They have all of this advantage. They have a 5-1 Zed who can run around the map and kill just about anyone. But it's all about like what you do with the advantage that you have. So Khan's huge. He can push down top lane. I don't think Cola can 1v1 him at all. And Mickey God is a god, looking to make these rotations, but it's all about like choosing the options. And currently it looks like they're going back to the top lane. Now Corrin is there, and I think he understands that it's going to be a 2v2 or probably a 3v2 with Soas there behind. So WEA Academy trying to push in. It's interesting to me to see that they choose to push the turret when they know that there's two people there defending, rather than trying to do it when they don't know there's anybody there to defend. Soas.
They have vision of the people on the map. They know bottom lane was. We saw the ping going on.
Mickey dove over the wall there as Soas went in there too. He actually lands the empowered Bola Strike on Nicola, but Insect's got the Insect on to Soas, taking him out there, showing him who's boss in the jungle. Insect at least finds one kill coming back for StarHorn Royal Club, but Corrin is dead for another 15 seconds. Tidal Wave attempt at an engage, but nobody from StarHorn there to follow up on anything Insect had. So 1 for 1 there. A nice pick over the wall by Soas jumping onto to Corrin to take him out, but ultimately it is just a 1 for 1, and WEA Academy unable to push into the base.
And they're really trying to pressure where their advantage is on the map, but they need to take some of that gold lead and spread it to the bottom. They don't want to deal with UZI and Zero right now just because they're so far ahead, but if they're going to group up anyway, they might as well place some pressure in the bottom lane and see if they can turn that situation around a little bit. It's not even that terrible. Yeah, both teams actually have a completed item. We have the Trinity Force versus the Infinity Edge, so we have a large completed item. SMLZ sort of forewent the early boots so that he could stay caught up with UZI and itemization. So it's not even that bad of a situation in terms of that. So they need to go ahead and try to spread some of that pressure instead of keep making those plays in the top lane, where they're going to get much more easily caught out by diving into the base. It's much more fortified there, much harder to get that objective than, say, the first tier bottom lane turret.
Oh, but Insect's going to get a sneaky ward hop over the wall. Khan actually dodges away from Insect, but might be looking to turn this one around. He's got Soas coming in from behind, and immediately you can see SHRC, they're just like, hey, we can try to make a play here, but they're just not in time. Soas did use his ultimate maybe a little bit ahead of schedule, but are StarHorn too far out of their base? Jump in there, and the bola lands onto Insec. He will safeguard his way back out, has a wind wall to keep him safe and sound. But he's actually, wait, re-engaging onto this? I don't know about that. Soas got the damage to put back on, and just look at Mickey, even with the last breath there. Oh, a bubble's gonna land there, and UZI could go all the way. He's riding the wave way up the wall, and with a, what is that, 2-3 kills his way? Cola's cashing in on the kill train. SHRC, a beautiful turnaround on a World Elite Academy.
I don't know what it is. It's like they are hoping that if they ignore UZI, he'll go away. They ignored him during the laning phase. That when he was there doing damage, they stayed fixating on Insec, which is exactly what Insec wanted there. UZI was just able to continue to do damage really uncontested, and almost him and Zero almost single-handedly turned that fight around.
And oh, he's actually going in onto Soas. Does he have the rockets there? One more, and the phosphorus bomb, he gets it. UZI dove double turrets to find that flashes back out to Zero. The bubble from Zero too. Like, oh my gosh, StarHorn are 2v5ing at this point. UZI, that's classic UZI. Dive in double turrets, picking up a kill in the jungle, and Zero's right there for the backup.
Yep, Zero's always there to hold his hand when he gets a little too far forward there.
Oh, and now Insect goes in. There's a teleport in from Cola. Bubble lands over the wall, but it's on to Khan, the tankiest member of World Elite Academy, so he'll be able to stay alive through this one. And survival of the fittest. Renekton is a pretty good predator, but UZI's got a plane that's shooting missiles, a little bit more advanced, and a little bit further ahead as well.
And they are going to take a dragon off of that, able to stay objective focus, but World Elite Academy hovering around, seeing if they can get something to happen. Just too far scattered, don't have knowledge of the area.
And they're spam pinging on the mid, so they at least know that they need to put this pressure right back out on the map. They have a minion wave there, so they can take this turret down, and I believe they'll be able to relatively easily. Soist scouts out the rotation from StarHorn, and actually might not be something. Insec is always looking for an opportunity to engage. He and Korn going to be dive buddies right now, looking for the sonic wave. Can't quite find it. So StarHorn do force off World Elite Academy, keep their second tier mid turret alive, and now they're actually the ones starting to put the pressure back onto mid.
And it looks like they knew the correct call to make. They knew they couldn't go for that dragon, and they immediately started going towards the mid lane turret, but they were really slow sort of to make that call, slow to react. They were trying to regroup, and StarHorn Royal Club is just turning it around on them. They rescattered their grouping. Again, when they start to fall behind, they're not...
Nice play back as Mickey's going to go in there, but he's actually going to go down. Just one last hit there, and Korn does not survive. He dies off to the side. It's World Elite Academy. They trade off a 2-for-1 off of a little bit of an overstay there from StarHorn. Just a perfect flay from UJ starting the fight off, and Khan coming in there. Mickey with the damage to finish it off. Another team fight in favor of World Elite Academy, just kind of punishing StarHorn for overstaying their welcome.
And a little bit of the patience and scattered play that I was criticizing there actually paid off when they were able to regroup, sort of back off from the turret and regroup and get those couple of kills. They need to keep a little bit of gold. They need to try to reclaim the advantage before they start making these decisive plays. Again, their ward coverage is suffering. Their decisiveness in the late game is pretty obvious. So let's see if...
Wait, okay, Soist and UZI. Soist has the engaged potential here, like he can keep jumping and juking through the bushes, but UZI is just so farmed at this point. 5-1-4, Trinity Force and almost the Last Whisper, and he's versus a jungler that has like a Pharaoh Flare. So I don't think there's really a contest down there, even though Soist might have tried something. Backs off safe and sound, and is content to be patient. But that patience is only going to last for a little bit longer. We're 23 minutes into the game, and World Elite Academy's team comp has a timer on it. Like, I don't care how many 6-3 Zeds they have. they're all physical damage, and you're starting to see chain vest after even the armor boots on UZI with a ninja tabby. The armor's starting to come out, and that is going to be a very good way of dealing with World Elite, even though they may be a little ahead.
Right, and they aren't anymore. The gold lead is pretty evened out, and they're even a little bit behind, about 1,000 gold at this point, which isn't that significant, but they are.
SHRC baiting it out. They land the Frost Queen's claim, force the flash out. There's the tidal wave. Nice dodge out with the relentless pursuit. So WEA Academy actually, no, they're going to find a pick on a Cola. He's way out of positions, trying to rejoin the team fight. Can't make it there in time, and WEA Academy with a nice pick. Set up a 4v5. What can they do off the back of that?
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and try to push on the mid lane or back off. They don't want to try to pressure the advantage too much. If I were them, I would have tried to maybe go clear out the Baron vision with that. Use that advantage just to get a little bit of vision control there, because it's something that they're really lacking.
Yeah, that is a a big deficit that they have. And to be honest, they've had it all game long. Insect clearing out another ward. He's going to actually hop over the wall to Baron. Gets locked up, but just barely escapes. That's being beset on all sides by World Elite. SMLZ dashes over the wall, takes out the ward, and takes a lantern back out. But there is still a ward there for a little while. StarHorn, with at least good warding there, and look at the deep wards on the upper side of the jungle. Like, StarHorn in control of that top half of the map.
And I'm not exactly sure what World Elite Academy... They are putting down a lot more wards than they had last time. We do see a little bit of vision on the bottom side of the map, but the issue is that really the bottom side isn't where the plays are going to be made. Dragon hasn't been up for a while. It'll be up in a minute, but by then the wards might be... not very good anymore, and they're just kind of struggling to find a place to put wards, to find a place to get those picks, and a little bit of counseling there from Coach Hero could be of use to them in the future.
Oh, definitely, and he's a big asset to both teams, like you said. Now, UJ gets the flay, and the death sentence through the minions, too. Does get bubbled up there, has to flash out, so he's going to stay safe, but Khan already using his TP. Of course, the same thing from Cola. Both teams wanting to start the fight, but, excuse me, who's going to be the one to do it? Insec. It's been looking incredibly aggressive, almost too aggressive, but he actually is going to get jumped in by Soas, jumped on by Soas, gets the dragon kick right into the middle of the fight. Insect, but look at UCI, he's over the wall, death sentence, and the death mark, rather, over the wall to find him out there. Zero is already down, but so is Soas, and UJ is going to be the next one to fall, as UZI just dunking through just about everyone. Insect wants to try for this, but, little overzealous there. He wanted the Sonic Wave on a Khan, but wound up jumping right into Mickey. So not the place he wanted to be. But 2-for-2 exchange overall.
I feel like StarHorn Royal Club is forcing an overzealous use of the word overzealous, but that was pretty good positioning by UCI there. Like, they managed to get...
wait a second, Mickey!
They just want to throw away all the compliments I'm giving. UZI
it's the caster's curse, I told you.
Had pretty good positioning that fight. That he used the terrain intelligently. He stayed in the back. I was able to get the 2-for-1 initially there. That Insect and UZI eventually got caught out and lost, but it was still initially a fight in their favor. But it looks like World Elite Academy is reacting very well towards this dragon movement by StarHorn and is going for the Baron, but do they have enough damage and enough time to pick it off?
Well, Korn went in a little bit ahead of schedule. Mickey is burning down from Ignite, but the rest of WEA Academy can stay in the pit and finish off the Baron, while Khan zones everybody out. Korn went in way too early. He got a memo nobody else received, and even though Mickey was low and ignited, he didn't die. And WEA Academy, just like, okay, just they forced the play and forced StarHorn Royal Club into really screwing up there and only sending Korn in. Especially painful is watching UZI face check and die for free and setting that entire plan into motion for WEA Academy.
And as we mentioned, World's Elite Academy has been a much more reactionary team. And so when StarHorn Royal Club is making these mistakes, giving up these free kills, being on the wrong side of the map when Baron is in play, they're able to capitalize on it fairly effectively, and they did take out that Baron. So with any luck on their side, they'll be looking to capitalize on these mistakes going forward. But maybe StarHorn will shore up and they won't see those openings going forward. They just have to make good use of this Baron.
I feel like being a fan of UZI is like being a fan of like CLG sometimes, where you're just like, damn, this guy is so good. He's making these crazy 1v2 plays, and then like bottom lane he walked under turret and died, and top lane he face checked into his set and died and pretty much gave World Elite Academy Baron. So I mean, off of UZI come StarHorn's wins and losses. And keep in mind, this is a big win for StarHorn because they get 2 points for this win. If they lose, they only get 1 point. So this is second place on the line for them. But World Elite Academy, I mean, really, they have nothing to lose here. They're just playing all out 10, 3, and 5 for Mickey. And at some point, like, you just have to think to yourself, don't feed the Zed, don't face check, don't do all these dangerous things that wind up getting Zed fed. But StarHorn is doing all of them, and maybe wanting to buckle down here coming into what could be their second place spot slipping away from them.
And we talked about some of the armor coming out, but the Ninja Tabbies are not going to do that much against the huge burst damage coming out from Zed. It's going to block maybe some auto attack damage, but it's not going to be that helpful versus Zed specifically. So he's still able to get onto those squishy targets on StarHorn Royal Club side.
One more auto attack is all this turret takes. Okay, 2 more. SMLZ takes it down, and the split pushing role has been taken over by Mickey, just because there's nothing Cola can do against him. Maybe Counter-Strike is a good way to stop a little bit of that damage. Oh, Soas gets bubbled up, but no damage to follow up onto that, and the split pushing continues. Even intensifies. Mickey going in with a death mark. He's going to get out there, and even using the Living Shadow to get backwards. Baited Corn all the way down bottom, and the death sentence there on a 0. Wave's gonna go down, and there's a double knockup, triple, as well as more bubbles start to land. Corn's dead, but so is SMLZ. And is there the damage from Mickey to carry out this fight? The answer is yes, of course. Holy UZI. Where's the peel, man? UZI just got dumpstered. Mickey God going in there. Soist, Khan, diving the AD carry. It's working out for WEA.
Yeah, and we saw a StarHorn Royal Club diving SMLZ too, right, as you mentioned. But the rest of the team really is where the gold is. The Giant Zed, the focus on the top and jungle early on was where most of their gold ended up being distributed. Whereas UZI...
Mickey, he wanted to go for that. He actually could have completed his recall. The minions didn't know he was in the bush, but doesn't still go down. All right, continue your thought. Scumbag Mickey's interrupting you all the time.
But UZI just kind of Valkyried in, and maybe we'll get a replay here. So usually it starts out the fight with the Suns. We've got a pretty good disengagement from Zero's Nami. Korn focuses down on SMLZ. UZI is biding his time, but he's not doing a whole lot of damage right now. He Valkyries in.
Oh my gosh, that's so painful to watch. All right, so guys watching there, here's a lesson on what Tristana has the same problems when you'll see guys like even like Vasily in North America representing the Chinese scene there. He'll do the same thing on Tristana, just jump straight into the fight. UZI, somewhat questionable decision making there. And now Soa's gonna jump in on Cola. They bait out the Counter-Strike, and there is the death mark. You can't run far enough. Okay, you can run far enough away from Mickey. Death mark's down, and Cola's able to survive, so that is a sign of good things to come for StarHorn if they can at least have somebody split against Mickey and not die.
Right, and so just StarHorn is creating opportunities for World's Elite Academy to regain control of the game, and they're continuing to pressure. They're staying in the right position. When they see StarHorn leave the base, they're sort of trying to create that positional moment to get advantage here. And StarHorn, kind of emerging a little bit as World Elite Academy go back to buy items. But we can bet that the pressure will be on again, and Dragon will be up soon, so that could be a point of contention, but Baron will be up in a minute, so they're going to start trying to create vision for that.
Exactly, and if you go for Dragon right now, that really foregoes any opportunity to set up ward coverage around Baron. And as the vastly superior objective, WEA Academy just going for the gold here. Whereas, look at StarHorn, they're walking straight to Baron. Now, they won't be there in time to do it, but they are there in time to set up ward coverage. And honestly, the ward coverage that StarHorn Royal Club just established around Baron is almost worth more than the gold that WEA Academy are going to get from Dragon, but aren't going to be able to spend.
Yeah, but they set down the woods there, and now they're going back. They're not going to defend them, so it could be easy for World Elite Academy.
Oh, and Insec in the mid lane. Got jumped on, taken down to half health, but he'll stay alive, so whew, crisis averted.
Yes, he can live to smite another day.
Or not smite, as has been the case previously. But Insect's actually been pretty good about his smites. The question for me is going to be off of Cola. Like, he is way bottom lane. He is so committed to split pushing right now, but he does have teleports. So, teleport's got a 3-second channel time. Can Cola make his presence known there in the fight in time? Because Khan's already going to be there, and WEA Academy, they're setting up, they're using Soas to scout, and he jumps it on UCI. No, don't do it. It's not worth it. Corn dies too, and it's a massacre for World Elite Academy. Could you ask for a better pick opportunity? Both carries for StarHorn walk straight into WEA, and this is about as free a Baron as you could ask for.
And they are mindful of Cola in that bottom lane pushing up. The pings go back to send Cola around. Insec gets picked up.
Alrighty then. Death sentence over the wall there to get UJ back in. Oh my goodness, this is a little painful to watch. Khan is walking down bottom lane. I mean, okay, so let's desperately try to be a StarHorn fanboy right now. Cola was split pushing. He took down a second tier turret bottom lane, so I mean that's mission accomplished for him. Split pushing worked out great. The only problem is that literally nothing else worked out great for StarHorn. They give up 3 kills onto both their carries, and the Baron buff here for World Elite Academy, their second of the game. And all that ward coverage that StarHorn put out there, they literally put it down and then gave it all back up again. And then off of a huge pick onto Uzi, they snowballed that, caught Corn out as well. I almost think that World Elite have like a hidden Sivir passive with how quickly they're able to make these catches onto carries. Or more that StarHorn Royal Club, rather, just, I don't know, 0... is about the number or the amount of like vision control that StarHorn are exerting right now, just having their carries face check bushes.
And technically, the decisions that they made in response to the picks were intelligent. StarHorn Royal Club had Cola push to try to get something off of it. They had Insect try to prep to steal that Baron, but a ward by World Elite Academy was useful.
Insect pops from the death mark, actually goes back in on a Mickey. Can he find it? He goes back in with the living shadow, but it's not enough. And now it's actually World Elite. They're going down 1 by 1. Does Khan have the damage to find at least 1 kill? Sure, Insect's dead, UZI's dead, 0 survives, and Corn's still there. But a nice pick. SMLZ and Mickey are both down. Can World Elite Academy still push off of this? Khan is ridiculously tanky, but Cola, Corn, they're both there, and they both have damage. So World Elite Academy are forced to disengage.
And that was a sloppy fight kind of on both sides. Again, both sides very rigorously targeting the AD carries out, trying to get them down as soon as they see them, as soon as they make contact. And after those AD carries get eliminated, both teams make the decision to disengage. They don't want to tussle anymore. It's too risky.
The riskiness, I feel, at least for... Okay, so both teams have a little bit of a risk. For World Elite Academy, They are a primarily melee-based team composition, and I guess you could say the same thing for StarHorn. But for WEA, they're the ones wanting to push in onto turrets, so they have to get like really, really close, or just play patiently enough to let SMLZ like get forward, poke it down a little bit, and then back out. There's no Trinity Force on SMLZ too, so it'll slow his turret poking abilities a little bit. But for StarHorn, they have to. Their risk, their volatility is whether or not Uzi just explodes off of either Valkyring into the enemy team or getting just dumpstered by Mickey and Soest.
That said, SNLZ does have quite a bit of attack speed with that Blade of the Ruin Gate and the Shiv, so he's pretty well geared towards getting some pushing out the waves, trying to help his team seize the turret in this melee situation that they find themselves in.
And so actually really good play here by StarHorn Royal Club. They keep their base alive. They pressure WEA Academy off of everything. But, I mean, World Elite Academy, they don't even have to have good ward coverage right now because they know exactly where StarHorn are going to be. They're just stuck in their base, and we taking all the buffs. They got purple, red, blue, everything they could want. All the colors of the rainbow. These are like a rainbow buff, so all three buffs like combine into one when you have all of them. It look pretty cool. But...
Be like Captain Planet.
By your buffs combined, I am bad positioning from Cola. He runs right into 3, but is able to spin his way to victory back on out of there. Stays alive. Cola showing maybe showing Uzi some lessons on how to get caught out of position and still make it out. I feel like UZI should play like super tanks, or just build like Warmog Sunfire Cape on his ADs, so that if he gets caught out, he can at least make his way back out alive. But Cola did it, scouted things out, so WEA Academy waiting for waves to push in once again. They're going for the 1-3-1 strat right now because they're just desperate to put pressure on the base. The only problem is that this is actually playing very well into StarHorn Royal Club's hands because they just get to wave clear for free, and they have enough of it to keep their base from being pressured.
Yeah, and they don't even have that much safe wave clear. Most of their wave clear is on UZI. So they're just being very intelligent about staying in their base, about making the right movements around the base. And World Elite Academy, honestly, isn't even pressuring that much. They seem, again, to show a little bit of their indecisiveness right now. And their Baron buff is gone, so they're a little bit unsure what to do, and they might just wait out for the next Baron to spawn.
Right, the Chinese observer pointing out that StarHorn Royal Club has just spent all their money. They have dumped everything that they have, all their gold, and they are as strong right now as they're going to be for the next long while. Whereas World Elite Academy are sitting with 1,000 to 2,000 gold on almost every single member of the team, with the exception of SMLZ, who just comes back to base after having spent all of that on some extra armor. So WEA Academy, they need to back off. They need to set up pressure around this Baron because honestly, I think they're going to have to take Baron again if they want to close out this game, and they're certainly going to have to back off and spend their money. Otherwise, they will actually be a little bit behind StarHorn Royal Club, who have managed to keep it close in gold. Like, they're still at a 10,000 gold disadvantage, or 9,000 gold to be fair. But at this point in the game, like, you're 40 minutes in, there's 60 to 70,000 gold on the board for both teams. So they still have the items that they need to be able to still try to carry this out.
And I do want to point out that they have a 6-item Zed and an almost 6-item Renekton next to StarHorn's Jax, which is a little bit behind in terms of, he does have some very expensive items, but still not near the amount of gold that Khan has. So they want to be able to sort of make plays and take advantage of the item disadvantage while it still exists on the side, because pretty soon StarHorn Royal Club's Corn is going to be caught up to Mickey, so they want to take advantage of it now.
And this is actually something really good to point out. Khan is ridiculously strong right now, and he actually went back to base and starting to change up his itemization a little bit. Bought double offensive items and then nothing but armor. So he is going to stay alive no matter what. But World Elite Academy, yeah, no contest of that Baron. And to be fair, it's actually really smart of StarHorn not to contest that Baron, because last time they even walked out of their base when World Elite Academy was doing Baron, they lost both their carries and their junglers. So gotta keep it safe, stay in the base, and just gonna weather the storm. It's gonna be incredibly hard to deal with. You have 17 stacks on Soest's Bone Tooth Necklace, so even that is going to make him very strong. He has Warmog's Thornmail. Top lane, you have Khan with Sunfire Cape, Thornmail, Randuin's, Ninja Tabi. Like, this is just ridiculous tankiness from WEA Academy. But it's not to eclipse the damage that StarHorn Royal Club have with all of their itemization. So you're really looking towards UZI. He's got the pokiness, the wave clear to stay back, but that's really not what he's been doing. He's been running into bushes, he's been Valkyrieing in, he's been going in every single chance he gets, and that is just not going to cut it here. But oh, Corrin going to jump in there onto Mickey God, doesn't want to fight him, so just Battle of the Blades of the Ruined King. But with all that pressure top lane, WEA Academy, they're setting up for a push in on the bottom base turret. They take it down below half. It'll start to heal up, but Khan can just walk forward. Like, turrets don't matter anymore. World Elite, they crush through the bottom half of the base. They're onto the inhibitor. Can StarHorn fight them? They're onto the inhibitor. They're taking it down, and now World Elite, all they have to do is get away. Insect, where's the kick you're looking for? He can't find it. He gets the Mikhails. He's able to escape, but just look at the damage coming right back at you. StarHorn are gonna start to drop. There's one down. Khan's dead. Corrin's dead, Cola's dead. Rather, not Khan. Khan's very, very healthy, very far alive, and it's World Elite Academy who will be able to take down game number 2 versus StarHorn Royal Club. They've denied StarHorn their chance at second place and have picked up a game off of one of the top 4 teams. They're not quite Young Glory, but they are very glorious here in their second game victory, and it is a win for StarHorn, or for StarHorn in game 1, but for World Elite Academy here in game 2, who will split their best of 2 series in somewhat surprising fashion.
And again, what we saw from both teams stayed true to the second game. StarHorn Royal Club wanted to make these very proactive plays, but they started to continuously make mistakes, and World Elite Academy was able to just capitalize off these mistakes effectively by taking Barons, by taking kills, and then eventually the tower and inhibitor. It is worth noting that we pointed out the fact that there was a huge attack damage composition coming out from World Elite Academy, and so StarHorn could just build that armor. But the armor items, the Randuins, almost every single person had a Randuins by the end, but those items just came out way too late, and by the time they did, Mickey already had 10 kills, so it didn't matter as much as it could have had those items come out earlier.
And that is going to do it for our first best of 2 of the night. Now, there is an extended break between both series, just to allow for games that go incredibly long. So we do have about an hour between these games and the next series. So if you want to take a break, then do so, but come back in 1 hour for our second best of 2 of the night. It'll be OMG facing off against LGD in a best of 2 to close out the evening. This is the LPL broadcast in English on Twitch TV. I am Rapid. I'm here with Kelsey Moser, so I do want to thank her for joining me as a special guest here for tonight's games. Do really appreciate the presence, and one of the big thanks to everyone who watches LPL, even if you're new to the stream, if you're a regular watcher, thank you so much for coming out. We'll be right back in about an hour for OMG versus LGD, so stick around, stay tuned, or come back in 1 hour for our second best of 2 of the night. LZ both had illustrations of maybe some I don't know, they looked like they were getting ahead. They both picked up very early kills in their lanes, but just weren't able to do very much off of it.
Yeah, and I think right there we have the difference in some of the experience of the shot callers making the proactive plays and calls between StarHorn Royal Club and World Elite Academy. Insec able to make much more proactive, much more decisive plays, knowing what to do in particular situations, whereas UJ, who's been away from the scene for a while, his team obviously wasn't as together or as decisive in terms of the plays that they were making in the early game.
Talking about decisive plays, I'm looking in the audience to see whether or not we have a huge bias as far as fan signs are concerned. A lot of times during the break in between games, they'll give away cool prizes to people who are oh my goodness, I want that OMG hammer. It looks like so fun, but it also looks like it would break pretty instantly. So my OMG hammering wishes will probably never be realized. Although OMG has been hammering teams all season long. Chinese fans kind of going crazy while we wait on the game to be set up. So we're just having a little bit of a break in between games while we continue getting things set up. So bear with us on a little bit of a delay before we hop in here to game number 2. So I guess we can also talk about the game after this one. This is going to be a second game in our series between World Elite Academy and StarHorn. But coming up after this, it's OMG versus LGD. And to be honest, OMG have kind of been, they're like out of cycle with World Elite. Like World Elite will look like a little bit of a slump and then super, super good. And then now they're currently in another little slump again. But OMG, especially when they had Neymar. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LPL broadcast here in English on Twitch TV. See the breakdown of the previous game, number 1 in this best of 2 series, 1-8. As far as turrets are concerned, the big objective play is working out for StarHorn Royal Club. And the MVP of game number 1 is Korn. Finished game 1 with a 12-1-5 score on his Fizz. Very, very different than the last time we saw him play it versus World Elite in the game that they did lose. 507 GPM. Guy was making money across the map. So great performance by Korn and just really across the board by StarHorn there in game number 1.
Yeah, and Insec made the decision after he realized the bottom half of the map was warded to focus some attention on Korn, to give him a little love, and he took off for the team. So that was probably a good decision.
It's true. It's like he's a flying fish because he took off, and well, he just kind of his trident was a trident that pierced the heavens, or at least it pierced World Elite Academy, and they did not like the specific location of where Korn chose to pierce them. He did it many times and hard carried the game out there. Incredible damage and great early game focus. It was a little bit back and forth. Insec had one like really bad gank in top lane where Soas was able to turn it around and even kill Insec. So a little bit of shakiness early on, and if World Elite Academy can capitalize on that, well, they're gonna have to capitalize on it with a capital K, because that's pretty much the only chance they got that game to get an advantage, because once the first dragon went down, after the first 15 to 20 minute mark, it was just all StarHorn all the way.
And World Elite Academy was playing a very reactive style, but some of their reactions were a little questionable. Like you said, Soas had a really good turn on the top lane, and he was farming well when Insec was showing in lanes, but he didn't make a lot of plays to try to get the gold onto his teammates. And also when StarHorn started making the plays around the mid game, started taking advantage of some of these itemization power spikes, World Elite Academy just really struggled with vision control and trying to find any sort of pick or advantage to try to get back into the game. So in order to do that, they need to be more intelligent about when they're going to ward, more intelligent when they think they have a pick, and hopefully they won't be in a position where they're trying to come back from behind again if they intend to win the second game.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to have to do it coming from behind. That's really never been World Elite Academy's strength. Maybe back in the days when they were dominating LSPL, if they got behind, then they could bring things back. But it's a whole different caliber of team. And more than that, just the different caliber of players. You saw so many of these late game fights where it was less the carries and more just the engaged. Insec and Zero just knew exactly how to start the fights and how to keep their carries alive and just really set them up for maximum damage. So really exciting to see just such precise, calculated play from StarHorn Royal Club, even if they didn't necessarily exhibit it in the first few minutes where Soas was able to come back. And I guess on that note, some very patient, very calculated play from World Elite Academy, specifically Soas and SM option. Mickey is hovering over it. Does he lock that in? It looks like it is going to get locked in. And SMLZ is actually going to take UZI's Lucian away. but that leaves almost everything up. UZI can go Ezreal, go Tristana, Kog'Maw. It's all out there on the table.
Right, and there's really no point against banning the AD carries against any of these guys. They're able to play a lot of different things pretty well. We see, yeah, the Yasuo might seem a little bit curious when Zed is left open, but has been really the one champion that Corrin has really been able to go off on before today. He had has had a couple very strong games on Yasuo, and it's usually banned against him, considering some people think of him as a bit of a one-trick pony. So we'll get a chance to see that again, and maybe it'll be successful for him again today. UZI, though, hovering over the Kog'Maw. The Kog'Maw Nami has been a very successful pickup for StarHorn Royal Club. Before, they've also run it with Lulu. Really what UZI wants with that pick is just something to reset his positioning. But as I talk about it, he locks in the Corki.
Yeah, and he was hovering over Corki there for a second, too. You were talking about resetting his positioning. Well, you just throw down Valkyrie, and it'll reset that for you. Kog'Maw, a little immobile and really vulnerable to Mickey just, getting on top of him and not having a way to get away from that. So Valkyrie's one way to do it. Of course, you've got the flash there, and a lot of CC from Nami should help him out if it's, if they're just dual lane getting ganked. But Mickey is on his Zed. Zed, they show the win rate. It's up at like 56% in LPL. So that's a pretty good stat to have on your side. Keep in mind, they also have Rengar, so a very aggressive sort of come out the shadows and jump on you for a lot on the team for a while. It was not looking good for our overlords at the top of the standings. But ever since getting the team back together again, they, brought it in, huddled together, and have been looking incredibly strong. So as expected, a victory as StarHorn is versus World Elite Academy. OMG should have a pretty good spot against LGD. But enough about that. We're into champion picks and bans for game number 2. StarHorn Royal Club versus World Elite Academy. And do we see a Fizz ban here, Kelsey?
It looks like that question has already been answered for me. We do see a Fizz ban. Otherwise, very similar bans. We see the Braum ban coming. StarHorn, though, since they don't have the opportunity to pick it early if they want to, and they might be afraid of UJ's Braum. It's probably a good call by them. If that's what they don't want to deal with, then they're just going to get rid of it. They also get rid of the Ahri. The Fizz is eliminated. The Kassadin is eliminated for them. So maybe Zed will be picked by Mickey going forward. And they are going to ban that Gragas, as we predicted early, but the Jax comes out for...
Yeah, so with Cola grabbing the Jax there, it's just a comfort pick, and it's actually really strong. It's been banned out against him previously, I think, in their game this last week. Don't quote me on that one, but it's first pick Rengar there. Khan is not going to let Insec have that, as it wasn't banned away this time. And last game, there's actually StarHorn that triple banned Mickey. So they took out, this time it's his Ahri, Kassadin, Fizz, they're all gone, but he does still have Zed open, and Corrin's gonna pick Yasuo. So if he wants to go Zed, that is probably his best option.